My name's Tom Jones with P6 Biz Builders. Most accountants and advisors, they're very good people. They're busy. The real issue is that many businesses outgrow what they originally signed up for with that accountant or that advisor. And the communication between the two, there's been a disconnect, that gap. The good news is these usually are small and they're fixable with a few tweaks. You can get clearer decisions, steadier cash, and a lot less stress by getting the communication cleared up and getting these tweaks done. And just so you know, I'm going to do a little sales pitch here. This is exactly what our top level service at P6 Biz Builders is built for. What does TOP stand for? It stands for top owner priority. What does that mean? Yes, you're going to pay a premium price, but you're also going to get premium service. You're going to be at the top of our list for everything. We don't just do the books. We close the month on time, track the key numbers for you fast, and give you real-time support so you're not waiting weeks for answers while you're stressing guests on cash flow and profit. You also have top priority and access to staff to get your answers to your questions. This ties right into our pillars like cash flow mastery and leadership and vision, because you cannot manage what you do not measure. Again, remember that. You cannot manage what you do not measure. If you have that pen and paper, write that one down. That's a very important one. If you would like my one-page 5 gaps and fixes checklist from today, send me a direct message with the word clarity, and I will reply with the checklist for you. But if you don't want it to be potentially be out there because it's direct message to me, we can talk about the situation privately. I offer a 30-minute proactive cash flow and profit strategy session free for anyone. The link is in the description in the pinned area, and I'll also mention it again at the end, and I'll probably put it in the comments too, so that you have access to it. All right, let's jump into something here. The first gap is simple. The numbers are not fully accurate or complete. They can show up as missing transactions, revenue recorded incorrectly, expenses miscategorized, payroll not properly split, loan payments coded wrong, or accounts not reconciled regularly. But here's the tricky part. You can have everything reconciled, so your reports look clean, but they can still be wrong. Let me show you an example of how they can still be wrong. We're going to go to the whiteboard here. Let me adjust my background here. All right, this is going to be a really quick lesson in accounting and to show you how it can still be wrong. When you record a transaction in any accounting software, they have what they call a debit and a credit. So if you put $1 in the debit, you got to put $1 in the credit. But here's where things can go wrong. Liability accounts are credits, but so is revenue. Debit accounts are your assets, like your loans, not your loans, I'm sorry, your checking account, your fixed assets, everything else. Your credits are your liabilities, like your accounts payable, your loans, and everything else. When you get down to the P&L side, your credits are actually the revenues and your debits are the expenses. So where you can have problems, because everything has to have a debit and a credit, you could record a revenue. Let's just say the names are similar, so you typed in the name wrong, that a revenue category you have is the same as a loan category. Since they're both credits, you could technically record a revenue transaction against a loan account. What does that mean? It means your P&L is wrong, your loans are wrong, but everything's reconciled. So all your bank balances and everything else are all reconciled. So again, your books look clean, but transactions are miscalculated. Same thing can happen in debit. You could record an expense that has the same similar name as whatever one of your fixed assets. So you could record a $10,000 expense as a fixed asset, and then instead of it being shown as an expense on the P&L, it's showing up on the balance sheet, and you're not getting that deduction for that expense on your tax returns. So that's just a little example of how your books can be clean, but they're wrong. So the same thing. So you might be looking at your profit loss thinking, okay, guys, and we made money, but deep down you're like, why do I feel broke? So just some of those examples, they look profitable on paper, but some other examples that I see are you have old credit card balances. You can look at it and say, why is this credit card balance on there? I know it's paid off. So it got probably misclassified somewhere. You get maybe duplicate entries that keeps everything balanced. Or the big one that I really like is people set up an account called Ask My Accountant, and they just leave it and never gets cleaned up. It just sits there. So the owner doesn't have a motivation problem. They have an accuracy problem. And why does this hit cash flow? If your P&L is off, every decision you make gets harder because you think the cash is wrong. Pricing, payroll, hiring, all of that. And your stress level goes up because you're never sure if the report's telling you the truth. Remember I tell you, give you a little tweak? Here's one that you can do on this. Review your bank and credit card activity weekly. Make sure those are balanced. Even if the P&L is off, at least you're looking at that, making sure everything's recorded, your credit cards and everything, and you can look at that. And then at the end of every month, make sure that your month end gets closed where you actually review the transactions, the bank is reconciled, the loans are reconciled, credit cards are reconciled. Try to do that by the 10th of the business day. It's not perfect, but it's consistent and improving so that you can see those changes every week. So if I ask you right now, Do you trust last month's numbers? Would you say yes, or would you hesitate? Think about that. The next gap number 2, is when owners are paying for accounting, but they're only really getting compliance. What do I mean by that? They get their reports, they get a tax returns, but they do not get clear explanations, guidance, helping turning numbers into decisions. It's a reactive decision instead of a proactive. Proactive is like what I've got in my top owner priority category, where we talk every month and everything else. If all you get is a spreadsheet and that's silence, or all you get is a report and silence, you're not buying value, you're buying paperwork. Wouldn't you really be able to talk to that person and say, I'd like to find out more about this? So here's what it looks like in real life. You're paying the monthly fee, you're getting your financial reports, but you're still asking, can we afford to hire somebody? Why is cash tight when sales are up? Should I raise prices? Why did taxes surprise us again? And it's all because it's reactionary. It's not talking throughout the year. Again, if these questions are not being answered proactively, the service is not matching what your business needs are right now. That may have been what your business needs were 5 years ago, and you just never have updated it. They need to, you want to be proactive now. You're going to have to talk and come up with a new agreement. And why does this hit cash flow? Compliance tells you what happened. Value or proactiveness, you decide what to do next. Pricing, spending, hiring, and of course, tax strategy. You're planning throughout the whole year, but you're proactively doing it. You know exactly where you are. When you do not have that type of value, your default is reacting, and reaction can get expensive because you didn't know it was going to happen. Here's a quick tweak. Sorry, I can't say that one today. Quick tweak for today. For number 2, what decision should I be making from these reports? So even if you're not getting that proactive, if you're getting reactive, you can still look at the report and say, what decision should I be making from this? If no one can answer that clearly, there is a value gap that's not your fault. You can either ask the person you're working with now, or you can try to find somebody that wants to work with you more proactively. Here's a follow-up question for you. What are the top 2 actions you want me to take this month based on my numbers? So again, even reactive, what should I take based on these numbers? Even 1 or 2 actions per month compounds into a huge change over year. So even if you're going to stay with the reactionary for price, budget, whatever it may be, you can still make decisions based on the reactionary that will affect everything going forward, so that you can still get that huge change in a year. So you can still make those. You can look at it and say, why did my cash go down? Figure it out, make the changes, and then the next month you should be ready to go. Gap number 3 is when the data shows up too late to be useful. Again, reactionary. If you're doing reports weeks after the month's end, you're driving forward while looking in the rearview mirror. So you're just looking here, but everything's already happened back here. That forces owners to manage by just looking at the bank balance, kind of ignoring everything else that's going on in the financials. Instead of, am I spending too much here, not enough there? They're just looking at their bank balance. They're stressing about payroll and hoping taxes are not a surprise when they get their taxes done. I get it. Most owners do this because they have to. They're just trying to keep the business alive. They're just trying to keep it going. And again, why does it hit cash flow? Delayed data creates surprise. What happens when you get a surprise? You get stressed. Stress creates reactive decisions, which may not be the best ones. We'll just wait. We'll just push it. We'll just hope next month is better. Whereas proactive, you already kind of know what's going on. Quick tweak for number 3, run a simple weekly scorecard. 10 minutes, same day every week. What's your bank balance trend? What was it from last week to this week? How many receivables do you have due this week? How many are way past due? How many payables are due this week? How many people have you avoid paying that you probably need to? When's the next payroll date? Just recap those numbers. 10 minutes once a week. You're gonna know so much better where your business is decision. And then one thing, after you look at that, you decide, what are we doing this week to protect cash? Because I mean, everybody's heard it, cash is king, but also cash helps you make the decisions, what to pay, what not to pay, what to collect it. If you like profit first thinking, you've already kind of taken care of that because the money comes in and you allocate it across all the different accounts because you're allocating intentionally instead of accidentally. Now, my next question on this is, do you know what your cash position will look like 2 weeks from now? If not, take that 10-minute thing and start planning for it. So here's a quick recap so far. We've covered accuracy, value, and timeliness. If you tighten even those 3, even though I'm going to give you 5 today, most businesses will feel that relief very fast, especially on if they do that 10-minute one and really analyze where their cash balance is. Gap number 4 is a common frustration that we hear a lot: poor communication follow-up. I hear emails go answered, questions sit for weeks, follow-ups never happen. It's not always that the people don't care. They always know that it needs to be done. It's just that their bandwidth. I mean, you've heard it all a lot. I mean, that studies have shown that the accounting industry, not as many people are going into it. So the bandwidth is not there, but the impact is real. It affects business owners. It actually affects us as preparers as well, because we know when we need to get it done, the end of the day comes and we just didn't have a chance to get it. But here's the big thing. When communication is slow, decisions slow down. And when the decisions slow down, problems can grow even quicker. So that's why I came up with that top of the owner priority service, so that I know which owners value my time, value their time, need answers instantly, and that we can take care of them. But in this, a small issue, whether it be a sales tax, payroll setup, a low-on vendor issue, pricing change, can turn into a big issue if it doesn't get taken care of right away. If you don't hear an answer for 3 weeks, or if, oh crap, I forgot about that type of thing. And why does it hit cash flow? Cash flow, as we all know, it's about timing. If you don't get the answers, you can't act. So if one of the things you're looking at is a price increase, that's extra cash flow coming in. And if you needed it and you haven't done it for a month, that could be a significant amount of cash flow. So the thing is, if you don't act, you might miss that window where you could actually increase the cash flow. Quick tweak for number 4, you set a standard and a rhythm. Try to get answers within 1 business day. Don't count on them to get back to you. If you need to, contact them or find a service that will take care of you. And again, it doesn't have to be constant check every day, but maybe have it in your calendar where you do a weekly or bi-weekly touch point so you can make sure that these items get taken care of. So even one consistent touch point can change everything. So even if you do the follow-up once or twice a week, or once a week, or like Wednesdays every week, you're going to talk to that person, you're going to get the stuff done. And then the practical step on this, make a simple who to ask list. Who answers my bookkeeping questions? Who answers my tax questions? Who answers my payroll questions? Who answers my sales tax questions? If you've got that down, you got that tweak down, that's going to help you out. But again, the other tweak would be, don't just count on them to get back to you. Follow up with them. They'll realize that you're not trying to step on their toes. You're just doing follow-up because you need the information. And that's how you explain it. You just say, I need the information. Have you gotten to this yet? And find out where it's at. Gap number 5. This one's uncomfortable, but important. It's the trust and transparency gaps. You should feel comfortable that your numbers are handled with care, that errors are quickly corrected. We all make errors, but we can correct them. Make sure that they're corrected quickly so that the small error doesn't become a big one. Your explanations are clear. You ask something, is the explanation clear that you get? And you're not being pushed into things that you do not need. If trust is shaky, the numbers become useless because you stop using them because you don't trust them. And then you end up back to the bank balance method again. What do I got in my bank account? Let's go with that. And you don't want to go back to that. What does this hit cash flow? When you do not trust the numbers, you default back to your gut decisions. And business becomes reactive again after you started to become proactive. You don't want to go back to reactive. Quick tweak, do that quarterly trust check. Are errors owned and fixed quickly? You want those errors fixed quick. Do you understand what's happening in your company based on what you're seeing in the financials or just even talking to your advisor? Are recommendations tied to your goals, not the advisor's goals? What are your goals that you need to make sure that the advisor knows clearly? Do you feel supported or pressured? Simple standard. If you cannot explain your numbers in plain English, you do not really know your numbers yet. Your team should help you understand them and own them. If any of these gaps sound familiar, here's what I want to hear from you. Here's what I want you to hear. You're not bad at business. You're not failing. You're likely operating with information that's incomplete, delayed, or not explained well. And that gets back to the point of when you originally signed up with somebody, you started here and your business has evolved and you're here now and you need different things. But the good news is all of this is fixable. A few tweaks, you can tighten things up and start running the business with clarity instead of confusion and reactionary. Part 2 next week, we'll cover the remaining 5 items and what you should actually expect from your accountant advisor going forward. Because the goal is not more reports, it is clarity, confidence, and control. Now, before I move on here, I want to just recap the 5 items that we did today. So we had those 5 gaps. Number 1, inaccurate records. And it's only 1 hour. What do you need to do there? You need to do a weekly reconciliation. Number 2 gap is missing value. How do we fix that? Decisions, make your own decisions, and coaching. Gap number 3 is delayed data. Guess my dog, you like that one. Set up that weekly scorecard. Number 4, slow communication. little problem that's spelling here. What do you need there? You need to do follow-ups and responses. Don't count them down. Number 5 is the trust issues. Do that quarterly trust check. So that is your 5. That's just a quick recap. So again, if you want my 5 gaps and fix checklist, direct message me clarity. But if you want a second set of eyes to look at your cash flow and your profit plan, book a 30-minute proactive cash flow and profit strategy session with me. No pressure. We'll look at what's happening now, what is missing, and what you can do in the next 30 days to get control back for your company. And then the third thing that you can do, if you're a type of owner who wants faster answers, your numbers, and real-time support, that's what my top-level service is for. Top owner priority. So you can spot the issues early, build steady cash flow, put more money in your pocket, and get more freedom outside of work. And by the way, if this does not resonate with you, or if it's not within budget, or if it's just You think you've got it. Oh, you took that pen and paper, you wrote everything down, you're ready to go. But maybe you know somebody that could help, that could use these services, that could help them out. If you do, please send them this video or this link into Facebook, or have them direct message me, Clarity. Again, grab the session from the description, and I would really appreciate it. I'm not here to help just the people I know. I'd love to meet other people that are having the issues that I can help out. Thanks for being here today. Have a great start to your new year. Fresh start, fresh changes. Make those changes. Make this 2026 the best you ever have. And I'll see you next week in part 2. Have a great week, everybody.